David. This is Paula from New Hampshire. For your upcoming season, please, please, please do a city chicken. I don't have a recipe.
So today on Between the Eats,
we're making city chicken.
So is city chicken pork or chicken?
It's pork.
Oh, okay. Well, this chicken on a stick, if you have it, is actually pork because it was cheaper?
Yeah.
Back in the day when it was popular?
Exactly. This comes from way back. We actually grew up in an area known around this country known as the Rust Belt.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing today is food from the Rust Belt. And city chicken being one of those iconic foods of this region. And it is pork. And the reason they used pork was for the old mill workers and steel mills and coal miners, the pork was cheaper than the chicken and more readily available than chicken.
Okay.
And so what they would do is they would cut the pork, get the cuts of pork, and make them kind of look a little bit like fried chicken.
Okay.
So that's
we did this, I think, and my grandma did like pork chops in the pan and did it this way, but we called it Sicilian pork chops.
Of course you did, yeah.
We didn't call it city chicken.
and it's city chicken because it's chicken that they make in the city, even though it's not chicken.
Now, what's really cool is we have had so many requests for this dish from our viewers. So thank you for contacting us. And if you have a great idea, please send us a message and let us know. Sure. A lot of people from the Pittsburgh area in general grew up with city chicken, and you really can't find it that many places anymore.
Yeah. We'd actually be interested to know also if you're viewing from outside of our region, if you've ever heard of city chicken or if you have a version of it that you like to do.
Yeah, we'd love to. Let us know. So what are we doing? Cutting this pork tenderloin.
Yeah, we're using a pork tenderloin today.
You took some fat off.
Yeah, we took the fat and what's known as the silver skin off.
The gristle. So how big, like, our skewers look kind of small for those.
Oh yeah, we're breaking that down. You know, the smaller the piece, the faster it will fry for you.
So like 1 inch?
Yeah, look for about 1 inch cubes.
Okay, perfect. And then do you skewer it first, or do you cook it first and then skewer it?
Well, why don't you tell the folks at home, because she's playing coy with you and she knows what we're gonna do here.
Well, I actually thought we should cook it first. And David said, no, we're gonna skewer it first.
We're gonna skewer it
And
first.
I honestly, he never told me the reason, so that's why I'm asking.
Oh, okay, well.
Yeah, you never told me why.
Well,
because
reason.
David said so. So
That's why. No, the reason.
Like, you know when your mom would say that to you? Because I said so.
The reason is because it's going to end up looking something resembling a chicken leg. And, and you want it fully coated. And also, you can't coat cooked meat as easily as you can coat already, like the raw meat.
You're so smart.
No, I just practice.
So show us how to do it.
So we're just skewering the different cuts of meat.
Okay.
And I'm gonna attempt, I'm not promising anything, but I'm gonna attempt to have it kind of, once it's floured and all together, to kind of resemble
a chicken leg.
A chicken leg, yeah.
Good.
And you know, I'm really doing this for the fun of it, but you don't have to, it doesn't have to resemble a chicken leg if you don't want to take the time and figure out which piece fits where and all of that.
So we're skewering them up, and then we're gonna do a traditional breading technique of flour, egg, but matzo meal instead of breadcrumbs. Now tell me why matzo meal.
I just personally prefer a cracker meal when I fry, and matzah is a cracker, and I just like the flavor and the texture and the color that a cracker meal and matzah meal gives you. That also means by no means that you cannot just use a traditional breadcrumb if that's what you prefer or like or are comfortable with.
You did an excellent job skewering.
Well, thank you.
And here in Pittsburgh, we say skewer.
Yeah.
Not skewer.
It's skewer.
I can't even say it.
Skewer.
Does everyone in the Rust Belt say that, or?
I doubt it.
No.
It's dialect, you know?
So we're salt and peppering the pork to give it some flavor.
Right, because anything that you want to fry, any meat, or anytime you cook meat, you want to make sure that you season it well, because that's where the flavor is at. You always want to season for flavor ahead of cooking, and then do a finish seasoning at the end.
Great. So let's do traditional breading technique.
Okay.
So we're gonna do, which one should I take first?
Whichever one.
Eeny, meeny, miny, moe.
Okay.
Okay. So we're gonna do flour first.
Right.
And why do we do flour first? Tell
Because
the folks at home.
Because the meat is damp.
Okay.
And Terry, you really have to get your hands in there. If you want to have that covered, you're going to cover it all.
We're gonna put the gel nails to the test.
If you don't use the flour.
How long do they tell you they last?
I have no idea. Do you have gel nails, Bob? I don't. So we want to make sure that we have a light coating of the flour. We don't want too much flour. So as you like to say, shake it off.
Yep.
And what that does is that gives you a dry surface for that egg to adhere to.
Great.
Okay. And then the wet surface of the egg is what the dry surface of the matzo meal or breading that you, whatever bread you use, is going to adhere to. And like Terry's doing right here, you want to make sure that you have it completely covered with flour, completely covered with egg, and then completely covered with your breadcrumb matzo meal, whichever you're using.
This is really such an easy recipe. I mean, you cut the pork into chunks, you salt and pepper it, do the breading, and then fry it.
Sure.
So I heard that the workers used to take the city chicken cold the next day.
I'm sure.
To work
right?
in their lunchbox.
Why wouldn't you if you had it left over at home?
I know. I can't imagine there's any left over.
Yeah, it's very good.
I feel like if I made it in my house, there'd be no left over.
And so we're taking a straightforward approach here with our city chicken. I'm sure everybody has family recipes that are from this area.
Yeah. So how'd I do?
I think you did great. They look pretty covered to me, so.
Once I got my fingers in there and got them all covered.
Don't be afraid to touch your food, folks.
I know. It is hard though, because especially with the raw meat and everything. So we're gonna fry these first in oil.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a pan frying.
Okay.
So just as you would do southern fried chicken, which is what this is supposed to kind of resemble.
Okay.
We're doing the same thing with our pork.
And then we're gonna finish it in the oven.
Correct. You want to put it in the oven just to make sure that it's cooked all the way through.
Okay.
You don't want to, especially if you were using chicken, you don't want to ever eat undercooked chicken. And pork has come a long way. There was a time, a long time ago, where you did not want to eat undercooked pork.
Yeah.
But through farming and things like that, pork is a lot safer than it used to be.
Yeah.
But I definitely still would never
still gonna
suggest.
cook it the whole way.
I still would never suggest eating pork completely raw.
So we're just gonna golden up, as I say.
Golden up, as you say.
I hesitated because I knew you were gonna make fun of me. Each side of the skewers.
Exactly.
And then finish them in the oven.
And finish them in the oven.
Perfect. Okay. Should I get started on my sauce?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm so excited to make the sauce for our city chicken.
Yep.
I love to make a sauce whenever I have a meat, and usually my go-to is honey sriracha, like a sweet and savory.
Right.
But you know it's overdone.
I know. Well,
David hates my honey sriracha.
I don't hate it. It's delicious, but she loves to utilize it. So.
I love it.
Yeah.
So here we have maple syrup,
Right.
mustard, and bourbon.
Bourbon. 3 of my favorite things. And mustard and pork are fantastic together.
Yes.
So.
Okay, so mustard. Then we're gonna put the maple syrup.
And you're going about equal amounts mustard and maple syrup, correct?
Yeah, but just a little bit of bourbon.
Right.
I guess if you want it more bourbon-y, you could do more.
Well, a little bit goes a long way, and that's why we'd rather have that mustard flavor and that sweetness rather than just overpowering somebody with the bourbon.
Unless you want a little buzz with your city chicken.
You can always do that. Well, while you're finishing up the sauce there, I'm gonna get the last 2 of our city chicken skewers out and ready for in the oven.
Wait. Why do we have these on a cooling rack?
Right, so when you put any meat into an oven, especially something that's breaded, this helps the heat get all the way around and it keeps it crisp.
Chef tip.
So anything that you want crisp in your oven, if you elevate it off of the pan by using a cooling rack, what you do is the air and the heat gets all the way around it and you won't get those soggy bread.
So we're gonna throw these in the oven until they're cooked through.
Right.
So it's pork, but it sure tastes like chicken.
Thanks for joining us, and please remember to subscribe and share with your friends.